Hey guys, welcome to our Wednesday webinar. Today we are so privileged we have new ambassador Jami Rosekrans with us here, and we're so excited to have her. We're going to start and have her share her story and a little bit about her, and then we'll get into some questions that you guys have asked her.
Hello guys, so my name is Jami. I've been in the business since May of 2012, and a little bit about my journey. So I joined kind of on a whim. I had already quit my full-time job, and I kept seeing these pictures of a tummy on Facebook. And it's actually somebody who's in my upline now, but I didn't know that at the time. I didn't know who she was. And I just kept seeing these pictures. So I asked, I finally broke down and asked my friend for some info. And she told me about them. She told me, it was 4 for $59, gave me the whole spiel. And I was just like, okay, well, thanks for the info. At that point, I didn't feel like I could justify the $59 a month. I could afford it, but I couldn't justify it, just having quit my job. So I just kind of backed off at that point, and I was just like, okay, well, it seemed too good to be true anyway, so I was just like, okay, whatever. And then she kind of mentioned the business side to me, and I was just like, oh, I don't want to do that. I've done that before, and I've fallen flat on my face twice. It wasn't something I really wanted to tackle. And as she kind of kept bringing it up to me, she mentioned it a couple more times, and she's like, well, if you know 4 people that would want to try the product, you could earn free product. And I was like, well, that I might be able to do. So I talked to my husband, and he was fully on board with it. So I gave it a go. I figured I'd waste $99 at Target if I didn't spend it here. So I gave it a shot. I had never seen a wrap. I had never tried one. I didn't know what it even did. And quite frankly, I didn't know the company had more than wraps. I thought it was just a wrap. I didn't know we had an entire amazing line of skincare and products. So I got my wraps, and I just kind of I posted on Facebook right away, and I didn't really work it. It took about 6-7 weeks before I did anything with it, really. And then finally my husband was kind of nudging me. He's like, okay, you're either going to do this or you're going to quit it. And I was like, okay, I'll try. I'll give it a shot. So I started working, and I promoted to Ruby in July of 2012, and then in August I promoted to Diamond. By the time August rolled around, I had just finished working at my job. I was in the mortgage department at a bank, and I had still been working part-time just while I trained a replacement. So August 3rd, I was done, and I had no more benefits, and I had no more income. So it was kind of my green light that I had to make this work. I quit my job to be home with my daughter more. She was 15 months old at the time, and I didn't want to go back to work. I didn't want to have to get another job. My husband is a full-time realtor, so I've always carried the benefits, and I've always paid for daycare. That's basically what my check would go to. So I gave it a shot, and by the end of August, I promoted to Diamond. I got my $10,000 good bonus, and that with my check was basically what I was making at my job. So it was kind of like, oh my gosh, really? It was kind of too good to be true still, but I kind of got comfortable. So I sat there. I still worked my business, definitely, but I kind of sat there for about 8 months. My husband and I went to conference 2013. And that was a total game changer in his aspect of, how he saw the business. He'd always been supportive, but at that point he was very on board at that point. Okay, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. We are not sitting back here next year. We're going to be in that roped off section. I was like, yeah, whatever you say. And I was just like, whatever, at that point. So January of 2013, I was hardly maintaining Diamond by volume, and my check was about an emerald, and that included my bonus. So it was, I can't complain about the money. It was still extra income for working from home, but it had definitely more than cut in half from what it was. So I was starting to get discouraged, and by March I was just done. I was kind of tapping out. I had started looking for full-time jobs again. It was just too much stress for what I was getting out of it. So it wasn't worth it to me. So I started looking at full-time jobs again, and my husband had happened to message a sideline friend of mine in one of my uplines, and he said, "Girls, she's looking at full-time jobs again. I really need you guys to message her or call her, kind of talk her off this ledge." And they did, and within a 10-minute phone call with Ashley, I was just kind of like back off that ledge. I was back on board. I was excited again. She just kind of reminded me of my why. My little girl was my why. I loved the business. I love the products, but it was just really stressful for me, and trying to get people motivated and keep them motivated. And, she just kind of helped me realize that you can't force people to want it. And even if they don't want it, you have to go for it yourself. So I kind of kept that in the back of my mind, and I just thought, okay, blinders on, we're going to do this. So by the end of March, that phone call happened like, oh my gosh, probably March 18th, 19th. So there was still there was only like 10 or 11 days left in the month. And in those 10 or 11 days, I pushed through and I went double. I have no idea how it happened. It just did. I got in the right mentality and I was ready to do it. So I promoted to double, and 2 days later, my life completely changed. My business completely changed. I get emotional every time I think about it. It's just so crazy to even think that, I wanted to quit. And less than 2 weeks later, Mackenzie Schultz came into my life, and oh my goodness. I went triple in April. Mackenzie went double in a month. I didn't know Mackenzie before I signed her. I knew her mom. Her mom was one of my nurses. So I knew her mom. I happened to talk to her mom at a doctor's appointment. The same day I got a phone call from Ashley. God had a plan that day. I tell you what, it was fate. And I didn't know it at the time, but that doctor's appointment turned into me wanting to do a fundraiser. I knew of Mackenzie. I knew her and her family were very involved with March of Dimes. I wanted to do a fundraiser to kind of unload the reps that I had. That turned into Mackenzie signing as a distributor. Mackenzie went double in a month. So I went triple in April, and then I went presidential in July. So within 4 months, I went from barely maintaining diamond, wanting to quit, just being completely over it, to presidential diamond with almost an ambassador average paycheck at that point. It was absolutely insane. I don't know how it happened. We just, I saw right away that she was a runner. She came to me and she's like, "Well, I've got this, this, and this going on. Is that good?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, yes." And in the meantime, I had signed a couple other really strong legs. So we just ran with it. We got to presidential July of 2013. And I sat there again for another 2 years. It was 1 day shy of 2 years, and I promoted to ambassador this year. It took a lot of rebuilding. Mackenzie is the exception to the rule. I don't know how this girl does it. Her team they came out on fire, and they have just kept that fire burning for 2 years now, and 2.5 years almost. So yeah, I sat at Pres for 2 years, which is not a bad place to sit, but it was just it was hard for me. I wanted more. I wanted that ultimate goal of ambassador. So I just continued to work hard. I poured into my teams, and I did my steps to success each month. And if I didn't hit it one month, I made up for it the next month. I don't do anything, and I'm sure you're the same way. You don't do anything different as a presidential that you don't teach your team. Those steps to success are very simple. They're there for a reason. So I just did that, and I just tried to focus and find those runners. I heard the analogy over the course of this presidential 2-year journey that I'd had, and it was something to the effect of, there's 4 aces in a deck. So you might have to go through 52 cards to find those 4 aces. And I found my aces. last summer I signed a gal that Scott went to high school with, and I had never met her before. She didn't do anything for 8 months, and then finally the girl like saw the vision and became an ace. She went double in 8 weeks once she decided to work. And then she went triple in July. So in less than 6 months, she went triple. 6 months of working. And then last year at Dash, I found another ace. Scott and I met this couple at the bar. I was about 7.5 months pregnant. We just sat to the bar, and this couple was introduced themselves to us, and we just started talking, and she went triple in 9 months. So it's just, you got to find those aces and work with them, and just don't give up on people. Jen, I had signed her, and it took her 8 months to see that vision, but I never gave up on her. So, you can't give up on yourself or your team. Their time is their time, and your journey is your journey. It took me a long time to realize that, but it happened. I didn't think it would ever happen, and I think I surprised myself more than anybody. But I just had in the back of my mind my kids. I have a almost 10-month-old little boy now, so we're busy with those two, and I just kept that in the back of my mind that I want this for them. It's not about the money. It was more so for my kids and for the accomplishments. I've never accomplished anything to this magnitude in my life before. I graduated college. That's about the highest of my accomplishments, I guess you could say. My parents were not on board when I quit my job, and I told them I was going to be a rap girl. My dad has always worked 50, 60 plus hours a week, and you don't quit a full-time job to go sell wraps. And it took me about 10 months to finally get him on board, and I'm a daddy's girl, so his opinion really matters to me. So to finally hear that he was proud of me and excited for me, and then when I went ambassador, to get that phone call from him meant a lot. It was one of the first times I had gotten a congratulations from several people in my family. So it was just kind of it's really silly to get emotional over, but it's just kind of an accomplishment that I've never had before. To hear my brother, my mom, and my dad all tell me they're proud of me. Like, that's just never happened. So it was just, we're not a lovey-dovey type of family, and we don't always share our emotions and thoughts. So to hear those and get those phone calls from them was really big. So yeah, more or less, just keep going after your goals and don't give up on yourself or your team, and you'll find a way to make it happen. Sorry, ugly tear.
You got me crying over. I love that, and the analogy of the cards of deck is, or the deck of cards, I can't. It's one of my favorites because it's so true in this business. You can go. You really just have to keep flipping those cards, and the thing that I love about it is that, you can get a 5 or a 6 that help with the business, but those aces are what put you over the top. So just because somebody doesn't run right at the beginning doesn't mean that they're not going to, or that they're not going to contribute. But finding those aces is what's really going to really push you over the edge and get those awesome promotions that you have.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, I'm going to say this really quick. I think a big thing that I found towards the end is just, it's not necessarily going in and saying, oh my gosh, you're going to go diamond. No, break it down. Okay, let's go ruby. Ruby is the foundation of this business. So you should be telling everybody, Ruby is your goal. Let's get you to Ruby. It's so easy. There's no reason somebody can't go Ruby in a month. So just breaking it down on a simple level, and then taking it back to the basics with the steps to success. I think I overcomplicated it for a long time, and it doesn't work that way with this business. You have to keep it simple.
That's right. I think we've all kind of gone through different phases where we've thought okay, there's got to be something more to it. I know I remember thinking okay, what is it that all these top leaders are doing? How are they making so much money? Because I thought they kept saying the steps to success, but I really didn't believe them because I thought there was something else. So I was like spinning my wheels trying to reinvent the wheel, and really it is sticking to those steps to success and really just finding those loyal customers and those distributors every month is what grows our business. But I think it's easy for us to kind of like try to find another way, I don't know.
And it doesn't work. I mean, it truly doesn't.
Yes, we wish. No. So my team has asked a couple of questions that they have for you. The first one is one that we get a lot. A lot of people want to know, like, as an ambassador, what does your day look like every day? Like, what do you do, whether it's personal, business? What do you do each day? Like, what is a typical day like for Jami?
My day, I just went to a conference in Las Vegas last week, and I have kind of changed my day a little bit since then. I would wake up and I would have my phone in my hand and I would be posting on Facebook right away. Right. And at this conference, they had a really great speaker, and I don't even remember her name off the top of my head. But she talked about, getting that phone out of your hand and valuing that time with your family, and it really hit home to me because I thought, oh my gosh, I ignore my kids. If I have my phone in my hand, I will ignore my children, and I don't want to be that mom. So I've kind of stepped back away from my phone a little more first thing in the morning or when I'm with my kids. There's so much other time that you can build this business. So, I get my kids off to daycare and to school, and yes, they are in daycare. I need it for my sanity and just so I can get things done. So I get them off to school, and then I come down in my office, and I have my space. You need to have your space that you can work your business. So I post in the morning, I post usually a lifestyle post. So, whether I'm having my greens or ProFit or whatever, I start with a lifestyle post. I follow up with my team. You plug into the team page, responding to messages, text messages, messaging potentials. I keep a spreadsheet or maybe not a spreadsheet, I guess, a really ugly piece of paper with my potentials, and I add to it and I take away from it or cross them off when they sign up and things like that. So I go back through that a few different times a week and just kind of touch base with people I hadn't in a couple weeks and just kind of check in with them. I look through Facebook. I find new potentials. Getting out there and blitzing, I'm still working on it. It doesn't come with a title. I'm scared to death to blitz. I will admit that.
Me too.
You'd think it comes easy, and it doesn't. So I wear my It Works clothing every day. If I ever walk into daycare and pick my kids up, and it's really funny because it just happened 2 weeks ago, I walked in without an It Works shirt on for once, and they're like, whoa, do you have a date? Like, you don't have an It Works shirt on. And I was like, yeah, funny. But I wear my It Works clothes. It makes it easier to blitz. I'm a walking billboard for my business. If obviously I understand not everybody does this full time or works from home. So even if you can get one shirt or a keychain or something to kind of get people's attention while you're out, to be that walking billboard or, a magnet for your car, whatever. I think that's a big part of my daily routine. Just, I feel good when I have my It Works stuff on and I'm representing our company. So, getting out there, doing things like that, but you've got to get away from the computer screen. Right. I for so long sat behind the computer screen, and I have to force myself to get away. You're not as productive if you're behind that computer screen 24/7. You've got to get out and talk to people and set up meetings. I know for me, and I think for most people, if I can get in front of somebody, and whether it's a one-on-one or a three-on-one, I am going to sign them up. Over Facebook or over Messenger, text, whatever. It's so hard to relay your excitement. And I have found that, if I can get one-on-one with a person, or if I'm at a party, I guarantee you 99 to 100% of them are signing up as a loyal or distributor. I'm just, I have the excitement, I have the confidence, and, it's just, I hear people struggle with signing people, and that's what I go to. You got to get in front of them, or get them on the phone at least. If they're not local to you, get them on the phone or on a Google Hangout. Let them see your excitement and hear your excitement. So that's a big thing that I have realized this year. So I've started to do a lot more meetings, coffee, lunch, whatever. You know, you've got to make sure you make time for your business every day. So even I was gone on vacation all last week, and it was kind of hard to like make myself plug in every day because you know you want to enjoy that vacation, but you can still enjoy it. And again, bring your lifestyle post into it. You don't need to sell people. You know, I've got my greens. I woke up in Vegas this morning, and you know my greens are getting me going. Things like that. So just share like how it's. You know, I do a lot of sharing how it's changed my life and my kids' life, and you know, things we get to do because of the business and things like that. I don't know. I'm kind of rambling now. I'm sorry.
No, that's perfect.
But yeah, it's just making sure that you're working the business in a few aspects each day. Because if you take a day away, then it's going to be 3 days. And then the next thing you know, you're going to be down to posting once a week or once a month. And your team follows suit. And I have found that, you know, if I take a month back or a week back, my team follows suit. So you've got to just stay up with it. You know, as hard as it sometimes can be because life gets busy, you've got to just stick with it and just put a reminder in your phone if you need to go blitz or post on Facebook, whatever. Yeah.
That actually leads right into the next question that somebody had was, do you push every single day? Do you ever give yourself breaks? Like, how do you, I don't know, do you give yourself a break to relax, or do you push and, you know, work it every single day?
I do work the business in some way every day. Yes, I think it's necessary. You know, a couple girls on my team and we always have the conversation of, you know, if I owned a clothing business, I wouldn't just flip the lights on and expect people to walk in. Right. I'm not going to expect people to just come to me if I'm not posting on Facebook, if I'm not blitzing, if I'm not cold messaging or, you know, talking with everybody about it. You've got to work that business in some way every single day. Some days I definitely work it less than others, but I do work every day. I have to. I don't think you'll find a leader who completely unplugs for a day or two or a week. I don't think it's possible. Again, like you can take it down to, you know, just a few minutes a day here and there if you need to. Because yeah, life happens, but I mean, I can tell you I was in labor with my second child in October, and so I was signing loyal customers while I was in labor. I was posting on Facebook while I was in labor. So I can tell you there are no excuses. You know, you've got to just find a couple minutes for it every day. We're all glued to our phones. So even if you're just on your phone shooting somebody a message or, you know, talking to somebody at dinner, you know, you've got to plant at least a couple seeds every day, I think. Some people might disagree, but that's what I think.
I agree with you. I think that I've always told my team, if you start your day, even if it's just one thing that you're going to do that day with the business, then it keeps, you know, I mean, obviously not like right as you wake up, but if you do one thing each day, it kind of keeps it in your mind, and then you're constantly working it. You know, like I think it's easy, like you said, like if you skip one day and then you skip a week and then a month, you know, like it goes really quickly.
Yeah, I agree. Like even people who, I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt again really quick. Even people who work full time and they say, I just don't have time with, you know, work and kids and activities. Okay, if you have a half an hour lunch or an hour lunch, take 30 seconds to post on Facebook. Or, you know, if you're at a red light, I don't text while I'm driving, but if you're at a red light, I might pull my phone out and shoot somebody a text or make a quick post on Facebook. You can find 1 to 2 minutes a couple times a day. You know, after your kids go to bed, you know, I don't go to bed at 9 o'clock. I don't do that anymore. I used to because I used to be tired all the time, but, you know, thanks to our products, I'm not. But, you know, I've also found that, you know, you've got to make the investment. So even if I have to work a little later at night, after my kids are in bed, so I enjoy the time with them, I put them to bed, and then I go work my business for an hour, whatever, even if it's 5 minutes. So yeah, it doesn't matter how busy you are. If you want to find a way, you will.
Yeah, I think love it. When you sign a new distributor, what are you doing to help them get off to a good start? Like, what's your, I don't know, like what what do you usually do with a new distributor to kind of help them, for those rock stars that you have, how do you help them get the information, the drive that they need? How are you helping those new distributors when you first start them?
Yeah, so first of all, I have a welcome email that I send them. And in that email, it kind of gives them a few steps to go through. One is to log into eSuite and watch the training. The training is about 2 hours, start to finish, I think is what it is. Even if they can do one video a day for a few days, do something like that, but get that training watched. Announce on Facebook or whatever social media they use. I have not tapped into other social media yet. I'm guilty. But whatever social media they use, have them, make a post, announce it to their friends and family that they are, on this new journey. They're really excited and would love their support. I send them a couple things to post as well. I have them set their launch party within the first 7 to 10 days. I really don't like it to go any further. I like to do it while they're excited.
Right.
I have found that if people don't launch in their first, 7 to 10 days, a lot of times they lose that steam. They're not excited. They kind of slowly fall off, and then before you know it, they're gone before their 30 days even hits. So encouraging them to get that launch party set. If I'm not local to them, do a Skype or a Google Hangout for the party. They don't need their kit. I've got stuff that I kind of show as I'm doing it, and I answer questions, all that. I do also send a little packet to my new distributors, just with a little, like a couple product guides and party pads and just a few little things. You don't have to do that, but I do. So definitely those things. What else? I had something else. I'm having a brain fart now. But yeah, I mean, basically just, encouraging them to plug in and to just get that launch party going. Oh yeah, the other thing is I give them a challenge. Get your first 4 customers before you even get your kits. Giving them a challenge right off the bat. A lot of people are like, oh, okay. It's possible. It's really easy to do. You've seen it done. I don't know if you did it before you got your kit, but I think I had mine within a week.
Yeah.
There's no reason it can't be done. We have people that have them in their first 2 hours. You just gotta talk to people and let them know about it. So, yeah.
I love that, and I love how simple it really is. I think we all worry about, I'm not getting them off to the right start, and it really is just giving them the tools that we have been given. I personally feel like the ones who are going to run, and the ones who are going to walk are going to walk. You can give them all the tools that you have been given and all the tools that and then it's kind of up to them whether they see the vision or not. I don't know. Maybe that's not right, but I kind of feel like most of the ones that have, if you're giving them all the tools, like you said, and getting them off to that good start, I think the ones that want it will go for it. I agree.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. That self-motivation goes a long ways, and usually within a week or 2, I can kind of see who has that. And if somebody doesn't have it up front, doesn't mean they're not going to get it. It just means that they might need me to work with them in a different way. Not everybody receives information the same way. So there's certain people I have to work with a different way, and that's okay. But yeah, I agree. I think the runners are going to run and the walkers are going to walk, and you just kind of match their energy.
Right. Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for being on this little webinar with us. Before you go, I want you to leave us with one tip that you feel like anybody in this business could use. Maybe the best advice you've given or you've received, or just something that you feel like everybody needs to hear.
My big one is just never quit. There is no mold for success, and I tell my team this all the time. There is no mold for success in this business. Everyone can do it. And when you get that self-doubt out of your mind and you start believing in yourself and your team, you will go far. There will be nothing that can stop you. You've got to just get those blinders on. I didn't let my, for a while I did, but then I put my blinders on, and I didn't let my team not working stop me from what I wanted. That's not how this works. So I just kind of realize that you've got to go for it and just don't quit. Had I quit, oh my gosh, I can't imagine how miserable my life would be. I hate saying that, but I mean how miserable my life would be today. I've got two amazing kids and a great husband, but I was so unhappy before this business, and I'm just so thankful for it. So just keep going. Don't ever give up.
Nice. I love that. And I think that your story is a prime example of that too. So anyway, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your story. We're grateful for all the tips that you've given us, and I think that they'll help some people with, building their business and getting back on the right track. So thank you, and have a good Wednesday.
Thank you.